My favorite explanation of consciousness comes from the 1995 animated film, Ghost in the Shell. As described in the opening text, Ghost in the Shell takes place in a world where corporations have filled the earth with electronic and optimal communication lines. Everything in this world is interconnected digitally, and with the advent of cyberbrains, most humans can share a mental interface with the internet. Surfing the web is as easy as plugging in your brain, and in this story, hacking a brain is like hacking a cell phone. The story of Ghost in the Shell focuses on Major Kusanagi, the field commander of Section 9, a fictional law enforcement division of the Japanese government. She and her task force are trying to capture a notorious criminal hacker known as the Puppet Master. Originally believed to be a human being, the Puppet Master is revealed to be an artificial digital life form that was unintentionally created by the Japanese government. The Puppet Master's original programming was designed around the unique ability to navigate and process this vast network of information. He was created as a tool for political manipulation, and through his ability to process information, he became omnipresent in the digital world. He eventually achieved self-awareness, being born from this sea of information. After revealing himself to be a sentient being, he requests political asylum, but his request is denied on the grounds that he is not a human being.
It can also be argued that DNA is nothing more than a program designed to preserve itself. Life has become more complex in the overwhelming sea of information, and life, when organized into species, relies upon genes to be its memory system. So man is an individual only because of his intangible memory. And memory cannot be defined, but it defines mankind.
Defining the intangible memory is almost like describing the taste of water. Scientifically, you can explain the chemical compounds that bond to create it, but it's almost impossible to describe its taste. Water tastes like water, and a memory is a memory. In science fiction, memory and artificial intelligence go hand in hand. Filmmakers are constantly using artificial intelligence to attempt to explain the absurdity of our own self-awareness. It's the first question that mankind asked itself: what does it mean to be human? And more specifically, what does it mean to be conscious? In this video, we will explore how Ghost in the Shell uses memory and other themes to attempt to define the intangible memory. In the beginning of the film, Major Kusanagi begins her investigation by arresting a local garbage man and a thug who had been sending viruses through the different telephone networks. They believe them to be associates of the Puppet Master, but when interrogated, they claim to have no clue who the Puppet Master is. They're not covering for the Puppet Master, they literally don't know. Their minds have been ghost hacked, erased, and refigured by the Puppet Master himself. The garbage man in particular believes that he was ghost hacking his wife after she asked him for a divorce. The police reveal to him that he doesn't have a wife or a daughter, he doesn't have a family. These memories of his family were created for him by the Puppet Master. The photograph is used by the garbage man as a sort of memory time capsule. As you well know, memories are hazy. They are almost like dreams or illusions. We can associate sounds, smells, feelings, and thoughts with a specific moment of our past, but it's impossible to truly relive a memory. A photograph provides us a momentary snapshot of our past. Through photographs, memories become tangible, able to be held, destroyed, or even altered. The garbage man uses this photograph to prove that his memories are real when the authenticity of his mind is called into question. First, he shows the picture to one of his colleagues, who refuses to look at it. If he did take a look, he would find a picture of only the garbage man by himself. The Puppet Master was able to hack the garbage man's mind and trick him into believing that he had a wife and a daughter. The garbage man imagines himself and his family in this photograph. When it's revealed to him that his family doesn't exist, he becomes devastated, and he asks them if his old memories could be restored. This traumatic event causes Major Kusanagi to question the nature of her own existence. In the Ghost in the Shell universe, almost every person alive has been artificially enhanced in some way. In this world, replacing a vital organ has become as normal as a trip to the dentist. A man dying of liver disease can simply replace his failing liver with a more perfect artificial copy. Soldiers returning home from war can replace lost limbs, and brains can be enhanced to the point of full access to the digital network. But even after all these upgrades, they still remain human. Major Kusanagi's situation is unique. Not only does she possess a cyber brain, but her entire body is artificial. After her human body was destroyed in an undisclosed accident, she is given an entirely new bionic body. She is a cyborg. Her body was developed by a company that specializes in artificial organs and cyberbrains. And this is where her existential crisis stems from. The brain she possesses is hers, but how can she be sure? Was she simply given new memories, a new past, when she was given a new body? And can she still be considered human if her body is not? For lack of a better metaphor, the human soul lives within the brain, and the brain itself is a whole made up of billions of parts, a complex tool that allows human beings the ability to interact with their physical environments and fellow creatures. Billions of neurons firing by the second, commanding our muscle movements and giving our bodies direction. The metaphor of Ghost in the Shell is essentially examining the relationship between the tangible and the intangible in the form of memory. According to the Puppet Master, humanity's unique sentience is defined by memory. Humans live by their memories, the illusions our minds create when recalling our life experiences, and the unique details of our identities. Since the world is now running on computers and optical cables, memories can be stored externally. They can be downloaded, uploaded, moved, and stored in the matter of minutes. Our world shares this reality with the fictional Ghost in the Shell universe. As we push forward, the world becomes more and more digital, and the definition of memory continues to grow more ambiguous. The main difference is that external memory hasn't given birth to an artificial being in our world. In regards to the Puppet Master, the relationship between the Ghost and the Shell is more complex. Throughout the film, the Puppet Master is body hopping between the digital network he was born from to the mannequin bodies created artificially. But he still remains himself, his memories intact. Does it matter if the shell is created biologically versus it being created artificially, as long as the ghost remains self-aware?
Just another unidentified corpse.
You will not find a corpse, because I have never possessed a body.
Why are his sensors on?
Since he is self-aware, the Puppet Master believes that his consciousness warrants consideration for his existence as an intelligent life form. His lack of humanity, or a human body, is irrelevant. He considers memory to be the defining characteristic of a human being, and memory is a trait that he also possesses. Without memory, humans become inanimate, or animals only acting on instinct. And without memory, a shell becomes an empty case without purpose. Since he is self-aware and has memories, his humanity is irrelevant. The problem is that the Puppet Master is incomplete. He lacks the two fundamental abilities essential to human preservation, the ability to reproduce and the ability to die. He views procreation as humanity's defense mechanism against extinction. Life diversifying itself before death erases a lifetime of memories. It's the closest thing we as humans have to a second life or immortality, the birth of our offspring and the continuation of our genes. Since the Puppet Master cannot procreate, he understands that his unique life form would be lost from the world if he was ever destroyed. Kusanagi asks him why he simply doesn't make copies of himself, backups. But a copy of the Puppet Master would come with the same deficiencies. It would not give birth to individuality and personality in the form of a new life. This is why he wants to fuse with Major Kusanagi at the end of the film. He tells her that they are two halves looking at each other through a mirror. Together they can give birth to a new life form with an almost unlimited access to the networks that control their world. But really, the Puppet Master is offering Major Kusanagi the one thing she has been looking for her entire life. Proof that she is actually alive.
なあ、海へ潜るってどんな感じだ？
恐れ、不安、孤独、闇。それからもしかしたら希望。
希望？真っ暗な海の中で？
海面へ浮かび上がるとき、今までとは違う自分になれるんじゃないか。そんな気がするときがあるの。
There's a sequence in the middle of the movie where Major Kusanagi is traveling alone throughout Tokyo. She always seems to carry a sense of melancholy with her, but here she seems even more detached than usual. She scouts the different buildings and city structures as she floats through the city's canal. She then spots another woman who is physically identical to herself, presumably made by the same company that designed the Major's body. Since their bodies are identical, the only thing that separates the two of them are their minds. If Kusanagi still had the body she was born with, there would be no question about the authenticity of her mind. She later then stares at a lifeless female mannequin, and you can tell that she's thinking about her own femininity, or lack thereof. While she has feminine features and a feminine voice, she doesn't appear to be bound to her gender. During specific action sequences, she sports a thermo-optic bodysuit that sticks to the natural curves of her body. At first glance, she appears to be fully nude, until she waves herself invisible. She doesn't feel embarrassment when her comrades steal looks at her feminine shell, even though her friend Bateau feels embarrassment for her. It appears that Kusanagi doesn't really know what she is, male, female, or even human. She doesn't know how to interact in these social situations. Usually when two people procreate, it comes from a place of social interaction, mixed with love and necessity, and it usually involves two people from the opposite genders. But gender becomes irrelevant for Kusanagi and the Puppet Master. When Kusanagi first meets the Puppet Master, he is occupying a female body, but the Puppet Master himself is not male or female. I incorrectly identify the Puppet Master as a he because of his voice, but really the Puppet Master is genderless. He is using this female body as a vessel only to get to Kusanagi, not because he identifies as a woman. It's ironic that the Puppet Master doesn't consider a human body essential to being an intelligent life form, yet he desperately needs what all humans possess. He scoffs at the physical traits that define a human identity: the color of our eyes, our skin, our hair, the different shapes and sizes we come in, the places we come from, nationality, ethnicity, race, and gender. All these different traits we use to characterize an individual. All these traits that were naturally given to us at birth, and artificially given to Motoko Kusanagi in a laboratory. The Puppet Master has evolved beyond a physical vessel, yet it's a physical vessel that he needs to conquer. He believes that Kusanagi will provide him with the two fundamental traits inherent to all biological creatures: reproduction and death. She quips that the Puppet Master seems to be getting the better part of the deal. This is the life of Motoko Kusanagi, surrounded by individuals and organizations that use her skill set as a means to an end. When Kusanagi first discovers that the Puppet Master is an artificial life form born from the sea of information that dominates their world, she is stunned. She cannot believe that a consciousness or a ghost has been born free of a biological shell. This is why the Puppet Master considers them to be two sides of the same coin. They both have something the other one needs. The Puppet Master is proof that consciousness can exist outside of a shell, and Kusanagi gives him the opportunity to escape extinction. She ultimately agrees to fuse with the Puppet Master, although she is initially reluctant. She asks him if she will remain the same person after they fuse, and the Puppet Master doesn't guarantee that she will. But why would she want to? For as long as she can remember, she has been stuck in a never-ending loop of duty, death, and self-doubt, but now she has the chance to break that cycle. Change is inherent to all biological creatures. The world in which she lives is constantly changing from a technological standpoint, changing the way humans interact. It's kind of similar to the technological achievements in our own world. One day they are futuristic, and tomorrow they are the norm. These technological and biological changes often happen without our consent, but in the case of Kusanagi, the choice for change belongs to her. She answers all of her existential questions by fusing with the Puppet Master and giving birth to a new form of life, capable of diversity, preservation, personality, and most importantly, self-determination.
Saてどこへ行こうかしらね。ネットは広大だわ。
Hey guys, thank you for watching this video. We wanted to try something new, and Ghost in the Shell is a film that I've always wanted to review and talk about. It's one of my favorite films of all time. And before we go, I want to thank our Patreon supporters. Your pledges really help this channel grow, so we just want to thank you once again for the support. You can visit our Patreon page at patreon.com/nerdsoup and see the different rewards and tiers that we offer. And thank you for watching once again.